What's going on, people? Fame Entertainment here from the Inner Circle, and welcome to another episode of One-on-One with Fame Entertainment. This is episode 16, and I have not done one of these in a long time. I originally suspended this show, but I really got the urge to bring it back, and I am happy to bring it back. As you guys know, this is a platform for gamers and YouTubers that like to come on and let their voice be heard. Now, today I got on one of my I call my brother from another mother, my Texas brother. Kind of find out, me and this man don't live too far away, so it's kind of cool. You know, not only to interview people from across the globe that I have, but the interview someone from my own state that's 10-15 minutes away is absolutely awesome. So I'm gonna throw it over to my brother Nicodemus X, is who I have on today, and they're gonna tell them about yourself. So go ahead and tell the people, you know, who you are and what you're all about, Nick.
Yo, what is good, YouTube? It is always a pleasure to be talking to you guys. Definitely thank you for having me on, Fame. And yeah, like you said, I am a Texas resident, but I am originally from New Orleans, so I'm a Texas-New Orleans hybrid. So, but yeah, basically a little bit about me is, yeah, I have a YouTube channel. Started getting serious about YouTube about 8 months ago, and my channel is really focused on just a variety of things. Like, I play a variety of games. I'm one of those gamers that I'll take it from AAA to indie in a second. Like, I just like so many different types of games, like platformers, fighters, shooters, not so much puzzlers, maybe platformers / puzzlers. I just like all types of games. So my channel, it features a lot of different types of content. Also, I have things where I do what I call insights. A lot of people call it gaming topics, but I give insights on what I feel like what's going on in the community, in the industry, my different opinion and perspectives on games and things like that. I also do giveaways on my channel. I'm one of those guys in general. I just like to give away stuff. A lot of people say, you know, you shouldn't do giveaways and things like this. So I've actually been told that by several YouTubers that you kind of bring in the wrong type of crowd. But for me, you know, that's just a part of who I am. So I do a lot of giveaways to just show love and support to the community, similar to the things that we do at Hard Night Gamers and TikGN, you know. So I do a lot of that on my channel. I really feel like my channel is a community type of channel, to where basically I'm the type of guy and YouTuber that wants to engage with the community as much as possible. When I was kind of like roaming these YouTube streets, I noticed a lot of YouTubers, they weren't really engaging with their subs. They were kind of just, they wouldn't even respond to comments or anything like that. And I know some channels, you know, they're kind of big and they can't respond to everybody's comments. I do understand that, but I always want to make it a point to be engaging with my community and engaging with my subs and things like that. You know, I kind of try to bring a different outlook and perspective to YouTube in general. I also am a writer for TikGN.com. Do a lot of different types of articles on there, a lot of opinionated pieces. One of my most recent was the day I cheated on my Xbox, telling the torrid story of how I went from Xbox 360 to that harlot PlayStation, who has my heart still to this day. So it tells that torrid story in a fun little way. So check that out. And I recently did a review. I do reviews as well, but my most notable review is Stories, The Path of Destiny. Is a nice little top-down indie action adventure game. I did a really good review on that. I feel it got a lot of attention and people really responded to it well. So, you know, I'm a multi-talented, light-skinned African-American brother.
Wow. Let me ask you this, Nicodemus. Tell people what you normally play on, and then after that, I really want to know what got you into you being a YouTuber and got you into writing. Like, is there a particular YouTuber that got you into doing it, or what made you wake up and decide one day, you know what, I'm going to really do something serious with gaming?
Yeah. So basically, from the writing aspect, I've always been a writer. I actually communicate so much better through written word than actually talking. You know, I'm the type of guy that kind of stumbles over his words and things like that. But with writing, man, it just flows out like so smooth, like butter, baby. It's like it just flows out so smooth. I can just communicate on a whole nother level writing. So that's always been my type of passion. And gaming has always been a passion of mine as well. But what really made me want to get into these YouTube streets, these torrid YouTube streets, is basically, really when the PS4 launched and the Xbox One, when they launched and they had the capture ability, I kind of always wanted to like capture my gameplay and stuff like that. So I basically started just dumping videos on YouTube, just showing off my gameplay, highlights, all that stuff, creating montages, things like that. And so I really started paying attention to the particular gaming community that I'm a part of right now, often called the crumb side of YouTube. I started really paying attention to the guys and what they were talking about and things like that. And I was like, man, you know what? First of all, I can do that. Second of all, I got a whole lot to say and people need to hear what I got to say. So I was like, let me just go ahead and stop dumping videos and go ahead and start saying stuff. Let me start putting some content together. And that's what I started doing. And man, I started just trying it out, not really taking it serious at first. But then the more I started seeing people being receptive to it, getting support, getting to know other, YouTubers and things like that, and people having my back and me having their back, I was like, man, this is a real community. And I was like, man, I want to be a part of this thing. So I really started getting serious with it. And that's where I am right now here today in these YouTube streets.
And just because people tend to want to know for whatever reason, what are you currently playing on right now? What is your console of choice, my good man?
Well, that's a very good question. I am a PlayStation gamer at this point in time, and the thing with me is, that we have titles, right, in the community. You're an Xbox guy, you're a PlayStation guy, you're a PC guy, or those rare people who are neutral but not really neutral, right? So I'm a PlayStation gamer at this point in time. But what I always tell people is, when it comes to Nicodemus, I go where the games go. So last generation, I was playing on Xbox 360, and PlayStation piqued my interest. If you check out my article, you'll see the whole story and everything like that. But PlayStation piqued my interest, and I became a PlayStation gamer. But it's always based on where the games go. Where are the games that I prefer the most? Where are they really popping at? Where's it really fire at, right? And right now, I feel like PlayStation has every single thing that I need. Especially a gamer of my taste that likes a wide spectrum of games. So that's why I'm a PlayStation gamer. I'm not necessarily like loyal to Sony per se or anything like that. I don't take it to that extent. I like being entertained. At the end of the day, to me, it's about entertainment, and whoever is going to entertain me the most getting my money. That's just me in a nutshell. So if I have to be labeled, PlayStation gamer at this point in time.
yeah, not to label you, just people always tend to know what games. I want to put that out there. So you are the self-proclaimed king of indies, and anyone who's ever watched the Writer's Block knows that he is a self-proclaimed king of indies. So one thing I want to talk about with you is that itself, indies. This generation, we really have not seen up to this point a lot of AAA games. And on top of that, we haven't seen a lot of AAA games that are not broken day one, or they're actually any good. There's really a handful on both platforms, Xbox and PS4, that are great, AAA titles. There's a few multi-player in there, especially exclusives. There aren't very many exclusive AAA titles that's just like, oh my God, this is great. There's a handful tops, if that. So indie space, this generation gets a lot of flack that it should not believe. Because if you guys remember on the 360, 360 was killing it with the indie games. The summer arcade, it was ridiculous. My 360 library is full of arcade games, and people respected arcade games on the 7th generation. But for some reason, it's 8th generation, indies are looked at as if they're not real games, or they're looked at as lesser games because they don't have the big budget title. But in our reality, there are most indie games are better than AAA games. So I want to ask you this: do you think that indie titles are more important than the handful of AAA games that we do get?
Are they more important? I wouldn't say they're necessarily more important, but I will say this: they are significant, and they're currently in their current state. They have more to offer. That's what I'll say. They definitely have more to offer. The reason why I say this is, and the state of AAA games, it's really in my opinion, the community's fault in a sense. And this is the reason why I say this. The reason that so many AAA games are falling short is because the developers are trying to meet a certain demographic, right? They're trying to meet a certain demographic. What does everybody want? They want these big, giant, open world, like multiplayer, spectacular games, right? That's what they want. So in order for these developers to make these games, it's going to cost a whole lot of money. Like I'm talking like big bucks, right? And so what they've done to rectify that is basically they start releasing games in parts. Like, for example, Destiny, you know, they start chopping and screwing games, releasing in parts, charging you extra more and more, right? And here's the thing. The community, instead of saying, no, this isn't right, the community, they continue to support it. They continue putting their money behind it. So what that does is it changes the whole spectrum of what AAA games are. And then other companies start following suit because at the end of the day, guys, let's be honest, it's about the money. So at the end of the day, the other companies start following suit. And, you know, in order for them to fit that mold, they have to fall in line. And what happens is they lose that creative edge. They lose who they are, you know. And we get the type of games that we've been getting, rushed, for one thing, glitchy, garbage games, right? And not all AAA games are like this, but the majority, if you guys really want to be honest, they have been like they've been rushed, garbage games, right? Now on the flip side, the indie companies, they don't have that type of pressure, right? They don't have anything to lose. So they're putting their heart and soul into the games. And that's what the AAA companies have lost, their heart and soul. So the indie games, they continue to put their heart and soul in the game. And that's the product that you're getting. You're getting a complete experience, right? A lot of the indie games, they are longer in length than AAA games. You know, cough, cough, The Order 1886. They're longer in length, you know, and to be fair, Quantum Break as well, even though I didn't play that. So I'm not the type of guy that speaks on things I haven't played, but I've heard. So, you know what I'm saying? We get a better experience with the indie titles, most of them. And like I always say, yeah, just because the indie doesn't mean it's great. You know, we have a lot of trash indies, but, you know, you're going to find more indie games that are, you know, better, honestly. And that's why I am the self-proclaimed king of indies, because I will always defend my royal court.
Before we move on to the next topic, I want to remind you guys to go to Nicodemus X. I do have his information down below. Make sure you guys go subscribe to his channel. Also, make sure you guys check every single one of his articles out at the new tickgn.com.
Yeah,
so
I'm hungry out here.
As we know, E3 is around the corner, and everyone seems to be talking more and more about new consoles, mainly talking about the Ps4k or PlayStation 4 Neo, whatever you guys want to call it. People are talking about it because it's supposed to have more power and things like that, and it seems to have gotten mixed reviews. It's the type of things I want to point out that I think can make it huge for Sony. It could also, you know, really hurt Xbox. One thing that could hurt on Sony. So one reason I think it actually will be huge for Sony is this what the generation is all about: power, better graphics, better resolution, better frame rate. That's absolutely great. That's what this generation is about. It's not really about, people care more about graphics, it seems like, than gameplay, which sucks. This is a weird generation of gamers that have been bred. They care more about how games look than the fun factor. And I also think that they could really put a dagger into the Xbox One. You guys think about it, the rumor is that the PlayStation 4K will be $399. So that means you cannot price the original PlayStation 4 the same price or nowhere close to the more powerful PlayStation 4K. So you have to lower the price point. So if you lower the price point on the PS4, guess what? It's going to increase the sales of it. It can be absolutely damaging to the Xbox One. Now, the only reason I say it could hurt Sony is because of the fact that you will have I don't want to say that it'll split the community. I don't want to say that, but you will have a bit of a divide. You know, a lot of people like to run around fanboying saying the PlayStation is stronger, it's better, it can do this. Well, now you have to say my PlayStation is stronger and more powerful than your PlayStation, so your PlayStation is complete trash. You know, it's going to be it's gonna be weird how the PlayStation community of gamers react to each other, you know, with these games. And then I kind of feel bad for developers because people don't understand. Yes, they have to make two different versions for the same, pretty much the same console. They can't, it won't be the same game because one, they can push the graphic fidelity of one more than they can the other. So it kind of forces the devs to, you know, make two versions of the game. So I don't know what you think about, you know, what would happen with the original PlayStation 4 and, you know, what it can do as far as really selling with a price point being cut. And also, what do you think about a possible community divide, if not a community divide with the PlayStation 4 Neo?
Yeah, so as far as the sales and everything, I think that the original PS4 will do fine. I honestly think that the Neo is going to take a little while to really jump off and convince the majority of gamers to upgrade to that. Now, the thing is, the only concern I really have with it is from a developer standpoint, because I've been hearing a lot of talks from different developers that they're not liking this. Like, this is something that's going to be more time consuming, cost more resources and the like, right? And the thing is, I'm really surprised that Sony is doing this too, is because before they released the PS4, they went out and talked to all the developers, right, that they could, to basically put their input in on what specs needed to be in that system. They really catered to the developers, and that's one thing I really did intrigue me about the PlayStation brand back then, was that they were really catering to the developers, giving them what they wanted. And I'm surprised that they're making a move like this, even though the developers are, well, at least the ones we've heard from, are stating that this is not a good move. So that's my main concern, is how are the games going to play on the Neo versus the standard PS4, you know, because, you know, Sony cannot afford to screw over their install base. Like, they cannot afford to do that. So I'm hoping they've taken the proper precautions and understand that everybody's not going to upgrade, right? You're going to have I believe it's going to be a small percentage. Now, when I say small percentage, that's still going to be a large amount of people because, you know, the install base is huge. But in retrospect, in comparing to this current install base, yes, it's going to be a small percentage that's going to upgrade within the first few months to a year. So I think the sales will be fine and everything. But as far as the community goes, you crack me up every time you say that. My PS4 runs at 1440p. Yours is still at that stupid 1080p.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, that's what this community has boiled down to. That's what this community, and it's sad, dude. It's so sad. That's what this community is. It's sad, man.
It is sad. I wonder if they're gonna call them broken ponies or something like that. That's hilarious. But no, man, I don't think it'll go to that extent. Only because when I look at the fanboy war, console war, whatever you want to call it, when I look at it, I do see a sense of unity on each side. You know, we have some really good debates, some healthy discussions between, you know, PlayStation gamers, Xbox gamers. But for the most part, it's a lot of BS, right? But one thing there is a sense of loyalty there, right? So I think it's that brand loyalty that's going to keep the community together, because at the end of the day, as long as it's PlayStation, it's going to be okay, right? As long as it's Xbox.
I think the arguments will have to change, because you couldn't have a more powerful means better argument. I think that some of the arguments will change. It has to, right?
Oh, it definitely will, and no doubt about it. I mean, we flip-flop in this community all the time. So yes, the arguments will definitely change. Because yeah, I don't think, as far as resolution and stuff, I don't think people are going to be able to really hang that over everybody's head anymore. You know what? I take that back. I think that people will still try to do that. I think people still will try to do that. I think people are going to be exposed, like you said, as hypocrites and things like that. I think they're still going to try to do that, but I don't think they'll actually turn on each other within the same community. I think it'll get ignored, swept under the rug, but I think the people who will upgrade will use that as ammunition, definitely, because this is a war after all. But I mean, honestly, my thoughts on the Neo and everything like that, like I said, man, I don't really know what to think about it because I haven't gotten an official word from Sony or anything like that. And like I said on the podcast, man, I really don't see why they're doing this. It just doesn't make sense to me really at all, because when I look at those supposed specs, now just judging by those specs alone, to me, it doesn't seem like it's like worth it, in my opinion, so I just don't understand the reasoning behind this. Like, I understand that, you got to put out something with more power, or you want to put out something with more power to possibly compete with the NX and make the console last longer. But it doesn't seem like a big enough jump to me. Does that make sense? Like, I don't see the relevance.
Like, so what you're saying is, it was a unnecessary move. I mean, look at the sales comparisons. I mean, the PlayStation 4 is beating the holy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it is beating the crap out of the Xbox One itself. I mean, it's not even close.
Right.
The Xbox One would never catch the PS4 sales. So why go out and do it? It seemed like it was a move that they didn't. It's like they're overthinking it now. Like, from the moment the PlayStation 4 was announced, they've made every single move the right move. They've counterpunched, when they need to counterpunch. They've always been one step ahead of the Xbox. And I think at this point, I think they're kind of overthinking themselves, because this seems to be very, very, very unnecessary.
Yeah, I agree. That's exactly it. I just don't see the necessity in it. I don't see the point of it. Not to say that, if it does come out and they release, some information, some actual information that appeals to me, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is what this thing can do. Like, if it's something that appeals to me, then yeah, I'll be like, okay, yeah, from a consumer standpoint, if I can trade my old one in and get that one, yeah, I'm definitely, down for that. But from what we've seen so far, that's what I'm judging it on. I don't see the reason from what I've seen so far, honestly. But I mean, we'll see, man. But what could they? I mean, seriously though, when you think about it, what could they be possibly thinking? Like, what could they be preparing for? Is it the NX? Is that what's scaring them?
I mean, I hope not.
I hope
really
not.
Hope not. I just think Sony were just so brilliant. They were flawless this gen. And if all of a sudden they make this hiccup because of the NX, I'm losing faith in what they start doing going forward. I mean, this is, like I said, the PlayStation 4 as is a great console. It is a great console. Why give it a bigger brother? You can just save those resources, continue to reel in all the money you're getting from the PlayStation 4, and use that money to make an even better next iteration of PlayStation. It just seems completely unnecessary. But one thing I did want to ask you before we got up out of here, not ask you to do, since you are like I said before, the self-proclaimed king of indies, what I want you to do is recommend one indie game out now that gamers have to play, and one indie game that is coming out that gamers must watch out for.
Okay, that's cool. I definitely can recommend one that's out right now. It is a game called Stories: The Path of Destinies. Currently, it's only on PS4. I'm not sure if it's going to come to Xbox One. It might, because I don't think this is a Sony-owned developer or anything like that. But yeah, this game right here is definitely a game that I'm into. I did a review on it, like I said before. I gave it 8.7. It's a magnificent game, man. Like, the story in the game is the thing that's going to just pull you in. Like, I popped this game in just expecting, it's just something I'm going to play just to try out before I get back to Ratchet and Clank. I couldn't put it down, because basically what happens is you're playing to get to your ultimate destiny. You're playing as a fox named Renardo. So those of you who don't like playing with, animal characters, I'm sorry, this game's not for you. But you're playing as a fox named Renardo, and Renardo's going on this grand adventure. He's basically trying to achieve his ultimate destiny, defeat the main enemy in the game, the Emperor, who's basically trying to resurrect some evil gods to gain eternity, which could basically destroy the fabric of the universe. But the cool part is that you make choices in this game, and your choices actually do matter, to the point when you get to the end game, your choices can basically greatly impact whether you succeed or fail. once you die, the game hurls you back to the beginning of the game. You keep the knowledge of those choices that you made and all your upgrades. And with that knowledge, you can make better choices to ultimately get to the end, the true end game. So it's so many different scenarios, dude. It's like 24 stories, 5 chapters each story, so much gameplay, so many different scenarios. Like I said, really a magnificent game. So definitely recommend that to you guys right now. And then as for coming out soon, the next thing that's coming out soon to me that I'm really hyped for is a game called Alien Nation. Any of you guys who played Dead Nation or Super Stardust, this is made by the developer Housemarque. It's a top-down 4-player co-op shooter, and that's a game right there I think a lot of people would enjoy as well. Dude, with the indie games, dude, I mean, with indie games, you really kind of watch out for them. They don't have like big time, like, oh, a month from now this is coming out. Like, they probably give you maybe like a month, couple weeks in advance, most of them. Another one that you guys may be interested in is No Man's Sky. I'm looking forward to that as well. I know it's got, like, you know, people think different opinions about it, but I'm looking forward to it. I just want to see what it's about. I mean, the idea of an open universe really intrigues me, and that's an indie developer as well, so made by Hello Games. But yeah, definitely give these indies a shot, man. I always recommend people, you know, don't fall for the trap. Don't listen to people. Have your own mind. Have your own thoughts. Get out here in these gaming streets and try these games. You will be definitely surprised, man. Just because the budget is small doesn't mean that it's a bad game. In the gaming community, in the gaming streets, size does not matter. Everywhere else it does, but size does not matter in gaming.
Wow. Well, I did download Stories, so I'm actually going to probably start on it tonight. And if it is bad, I would tell myself it's bad, and he will, Dick will reimburse us our $15.
Oh,
we're gonna get up out of here.
You will not be disappointed.
Hey, man, I hope not. But Nick, thanks so much for coming in, man. Like I told you guys, if you are subscribed to me, go subscribe to Nicodemus X, and make sure I want to make sure you guys know that you can read everything he writes on the new TickGN.com. You guys will not be disappointed. Like I said, this one of the coolest guys in the community. He really doesn't play in the fanboy war BS. This man games. He games. You can catch him. What is your PSN, by the way?
Nicodemus_X. So yeah, definitely hit me up on there, man. Like I said, I'm a community guy. I'm not stuck up. Hit me up. We can play. I don't care, man. Let's go at it.
All right, we're gonna get a boogie up out of here, man, because I'm sure Nick has things to do, and my wife is probably getting ready to kick in my arse. So I'm gonna get up out of here, man. You guys have a great one. Thank you guys once again. Like I said, I will be doing this one-on-one again soon. I know I've been kind of sporadic today, and I'm just really not used to doing my own show, and that's a little bit embarrassing. But thanks again for Nicodemus X coming out. His information will be in the link down below. This is Fame Entertainment from the Inner Circle. You guys have a great one, and we out.